So, good morning. Very warm welcome to all of us into the Sangha Live, Sangha Hall meditation room. And yeah, just taking a moment to arrive. Some of you had the good fortune to get in early and already have shared their well-wishing and warm words with each other. And it's such a lovely space to come into, to kind of ease into, relax into in the morning and waking up together. For those of us who are this side of the morning, and of course others may be tuning in at other times, and really warm welcome to all of us, and a warm and wide of where everyone is. My video has disappeared for me. This may be a common thing, but see if I can just fix that. I think this was happening a little bit yesterday, so maybe something I'll have to keep an eye on. Anyway, not a big problem. We can deal with these smaller problems. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of the larger issues of life later on, but actually today can also already begin to touch on issues around what makes life heavy, what makes life hard to bear, and what can we do about it. So what I was wishing to speak about over this week is the idea that we can be a light unto ourselves, a lamp unto ourselves, and also the Dharma can be a light unto us and others and the way. And this sense of lighting up, brightening up, and it also meets into other qualities of a little bit of play on words perhaps, but this sense of alighting, as we were doing yesterday, which is actually more like the alighting of a bird upon a branch back into the nest, alighting from the train of distracted thoughts. But here I want to use light as in that sense of weight, weightiness, heaviness, and becoming lighter in that sense. So that's the ideas of what we're going to be exploring. And just by way of introduction, just noticed that another cable had come undone. So everything's just getting lighter and lighter. So yeah, I'm Nathan Glyde, guiding the sessions this week. Okay. Lose connection for a bit. Right. Okay, well, let's persevere a bit more before I do anything more drastic. What was this saying here? A loud snore from room next door. Um, so how much did we miss? Interesting. All right. Um, so some have sound and not visuals. Some are saying all okay. So to kind of summarize what I was just saying and lead into some more is we're going to be practicing lightening our experience. And for that, I was just inquiring into, well, what actually makes life heavy? And in the Dharma, we would say like life becomes heavy because of reactivity. Because of the way that we're responding, reacting to experience. Now, leaving aside for the moment that there are times where we probably want to be more active, more engaged, more standing up for things and all of this. But as a meditation exploration, what we also want to be looking at is, are there ways in which we can ease the experience of life, ease the way that we're responding to experience? And that is actually a central part of the way that we practice. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to kind of keep up on. Okay, I can see some of you coming back in. Sorry about this. We will persevere. Somehow the connection really just dropped off altogether. So again, I'm not entirely sure where I lost you, and hopefully we'll be able to piece pieces back together. And thanks for sticking around. So, in a sense, what we are exploring here. Maybe I will just wait for a second to think. Maybe numbers are people gently flowing back in. So we will go into the meditation relatively shortly. I think that we've got a sense enough of what's going on in the teachings, in the ethics of the thing here, which we could say that ethics is our foundation, and we use that as our way in to kind of clarify, clear up our views, see deeper into our experience. And as we do that, we find more skillful ways to be more harmonized, more gathered, more well-being. And then we can work our way into more and more skillful ways of being. And those skillful ways of being express themselves as less reactivity. Yeah. And how does less reactivity reveal itself? So basically, less greed, less hatred, less delusion. This is such an interesting thing here. I'm just adjust my camera back again. We'll have to have a look at what is exactly happening here. And yeah, so we need to change our tune. We need to change our path, which we do by doing that, and change it to one which has less reactivity. Yeah. And the easiest mode that we can notice that this is happening for us is actually through the constriction and contraction in our experience, right? So you can do that through the body sense, lengthening the breath, easing out the easing into and easing wider the experience of how we experience the breathing, that we're perfectly allowed to change the breathing rhythm. But we can also do it through the listening, more wider, releasing, kind listening. Yeah. So physically, we're releasing the contraction in the body, relaxing that. That makes a big difference. And in the listening, opening that wider sense of taking in the sounds, and we'll bring that into the meditation. But there's also something happening in the heart mind. There's kind of an opening of the palm of attention, opening that palm of attention. It's an ungripping from experience that we've grabbed onto. Yeah. And then we're more able to actually let things in, let them be, let them go. Yeah, letting them in, letting them be, letting them go. And all of that is just changing these reactivity levels that actually are generating the sense of heaviness. And so what we can start to feel is a lightness. Yeah. Feel lighter in our experience, more release, less holding back. We talked about yesterday. So yeah, getting back in the reflections. Since I'm holding back, it's a bit less of that. And so we're going for quite a radically different way of being, and we'll go through that in a radical progression of our experience. Okay, so once again, if you find, relatively comfortable way to have the body that feels suitable for this kind of practice of releasing, relaxing, opening, and still retaining enough presence for the sensitivity that we want to bring through. Yeah, so really get to know our experience, really be there through it all. Sometimes it's helpful just starting off with a really nice breath, maybe a deep, slow, long inhalation, and then a full out breath, outflowing. Then a couple more long breaths. The in breath awakening the system, and the out breath unburdening, releasing. And then if we're going to be practicing with the breath, then you might prefer to be practicing with the sounds. If it's with the breath, just letting the breath return to a comfortable rhythm. We might already question, where's the deepest, most relaxing place that I can experience this breath? It might be the rise and fall of the belly, the abdomen. Might enjoy feeling its impact on the back of the body. If we're listening to sounds, can there be a sense of receiving them into awareness, letting them in, letting them flow through? A similar thing with the breath sensations. They appear, they're welcome to appear, and then released. And if we notice that we're getting entangled into a story, notice that we can release that. In a sense, maybe it's an energetic sense or an imaginary sense. As we release that, we're releasing the heaviness of that, holding on to that. And actually the present moment, the present experience is lighter. Sometimes in the meditation, we can notice that we're really leaning forwards if we're chasing after something, or we might even be leaning backwards, like we're not wanting to be fully into this moment. Just making those micro adjustments to find something closer to a point of balancing. Think of this as also lightening. From that alignment, it's an alignment of the spine, left to right, forward to backwards. You can actually move then into a place of relaxing the muscles. Relax the muscles of the face, the shoulders, the belly. Again, you could imagine this releasing the holding, which really supports a lightening. And through that, our sensitivity of really feeling directly the breath, hearing more directly the sound. Noticing where attention is going, and whatever it is, there's no sense of right or wrong. We're not putting a layer of reactivity in that way, but actually there's something lighter for us. Should we not practice for that, just for now, letting that be? How much can we open the grip of attention? Offer an open palm to this present experience. Meet the breath that way, meet the sounds that way. We could also almost hold the heart, tenderness of the heart, hold this life as we get to know it in an open palm, whatever that might mean for you. They can be the breath blowing through, the sounds passing by. A sense of non-resistance, non-reactivity. Softening if it's helpful. We can continue the practice is relaxing and softening. And there are also these ways of practicing which are ungripping, opening. But we could also tune into the lighter aspects of this experience, the sense of space around, can even sometimes be a space within experience. Whatever sounds are happening, they're happening in this more spacious awareness. And tuning into that space, like the silence between the words. And habitually we focus on objects. What about sky, the clouds, the birds are moving through that sense, wide open space. Space behind us, above us, beneath us, and even actually within us, if that makes sense. Otherwise, pay attention to the space that it makes sense to pay attention to. And allowing the space to expand, reveal itself. Whatever happens happening in space, lots of space. It can be helpful to have a little bit more of an object to into. If you feel it's possible, you can actually see the breath as a movement of space. Sounds as expressions of space, known by their ripples through the space. A lighter touch with something to attend to, deeply aware of the lights, the spaciousness of experience as it unfolds. Into the last minute of the practice. A sense of body, can there be a sense of softening, aligning? There's a sense of anything in attention, can there be a sense of ungripping, not grasping onto, opening the palm? And if there's any sense of space, can we notice just how expansive that can be? Taking a moment to appreciate yourself or practicing in these ways, whether it felt effective or not. It's great that you're doing it. You're experimenting with your experience, learning, deepening your understanding. And appreciation to the community here that's supporting us. And we'll come back from our solo journey into the communal space. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your practice. And particularly today, thank you for your perseverance. Happy to have my own perseverance mirrored back in yours. And apologies for the parts that I played in not noticing what was going on here, so that I could keep a good connection. But I think some of it was a little bit out of my control. And Ken, I'm not sure quite how it all happened. So what that meant is that the session perhaps was lighter in certain areas than I'd intended, despite aiming for looking at this exploration of how we can lighten the heaviness of things. And yeah, certainly it doesn't feel like it's been a heavy situation, but there may be gaps that I'm kind of missing, and it's kind of like, oh, I was kind of following this idea and then I kind of lost the sense. So if there are any kind of questions or reflections around that, they're very welcome. So we can open to that. If you have a question, if you just put capital letters at the front so that it kind of stands out from the other chat messages, then happy to respond to that. Also, reflections are very, very invited. It's lovely to hear how it landed for you and all of that. Maybe I'll just give a kind of a 1 minute journey back through what we were saying, is that the world appears to us dependent on how we respond to it, how we react to it, as we do most of the time. And that world that we experience is a perception in our awareness. And that actually opens out the possibilities for that perception, that experience of the world, inner and outer, to be really affected by how we come towards it. And we can do that through softening the bodily sense, the posture, the way that we fabricate, contribute towards our experience through how we're holding the body. Yeah, if we don't mirror back the stress, it's almost like, oh, it doesn't actually feel that way. Yeah, and we can make things worse. That whole sense of fear and holding back and things like that we were reflecting on yesterday also come through. We can also see in just kind of our attitudinal sense is that I'm really kind of gripping onto this. Yeah, and the more that we grip onto something, the more solid it becomes, and then the more heavy it feels in the heart and the mind. And there's actually a possibility to use our imagination to open that palm of attention and follow our intuition into a sense of being more able, and we can kind of call it like letting in, letting be, letting go. That's what the open palm is able to do. Yeah, not resisting, desisting, and rejecting. Yeah, as can happen through a reactivity mode, right? And then finally, we're actually saying all of this experience is happening in the space of awareness. And we could take that even further and say that any experience is actually made of awareness, right? It's actually really light, and it can be taken as heavy or taken as light. But ultimately, it's actually made of awareness. This experience is made of awareness. This meeting here is made of awareness. This body that you experience yourself within is made of awareness. And that awareness actually doesn't have a weight because it's not working on that physical molecular level, right? So it's actually a perception in awareness, and seeing it in that way actually lightens a lot. And in that lightness, it opens out that realm of possibilities, and then we're in that positive cycle, yeah, of ethical, or we might call care responses to existence, that leads to a sense of harmonization and well-being because of the release of the regret that comes from being careless and uncaring. And then that clarifies our view, and we're able to see more deeply the ways in which we're currently acting in ways that don't support the caring heart. Okay, so all of that is by way of saying many ways, many dimensions, many ways to understand the fact that experience can get heavy, get stressed, gets hard to bear. This is a good definition for the word dukkha, hard to bear. And we can make things easier to bear, lighter, more possible for us to meet in skillful and wholesome ways. And that's the path of peace, right? The path of peace, the path of non-regret, the freedom from regret that we're dancing along through these sessions and through all kinds of practices. So hopefully I'm not speaking into the void, and you're there and you're hearing it, and it's all working. But even if that is, it's good for me to remind myself these two. Yeah. So once again, really deep gratitude for your perseverance and persistence and staying with all of this. And thank you for your support in coming here. And thank you for supporting Sangha Life to keep going through your presence, through your participation, through your support in all its forms, in all its ways. And tomorrow we'll come back and move a little bit further into a sense of taking delight into our experience. And one caveat to the things I've been saying today, in terms of we're releasing that grip, allowing all of these things, and all of this. That doesn't mean we're just going to accept everything. Yeah. And when we move into this kind of idea of delight, it also doesn't mean that we have to say, oh, this difficult, unpleasant experience is delightful, right? But there's actually quite a lot to delight in. Yeah. So Frederica, you just asked this question here. Body is made out of awareness. So the body that we experience is known through the heart mind, and the heart mind is knowing that as an impression in awareness. Yeah. So we're not saying that the body doesn't exist anywhere else, but our experience of it is an impression in awareness. And we have the possibility then of actually seeing it in kind of different ways. You know, so we could see it as like a molecular structure that we learned about in biology class or you know, scientific lectures, and that's not untrue. Yeah, we can also see it as whatever we want, you know, made of light, just an energy form, or we can say, oh, it's actually made of awareness. Yeah. So I'm not making a truth claim. I'm just saying we can see it that way. So the way I understand the Dharma is it's not making truth claims, it's making usefulness claims. And it's like, oh, how is it when they see it that way? And if it lightens the experience, it makes it easier to bear, makes it more uh, harmonious to be with, and it can lead to more care, creativity, and well-being. But yeah, keep that question alive. Is the body made out of awareness? What is the body made out of? What's my experience made out of? And we'll dive into more and more of that over the day. So I hope that's enough to kind of keep you going with that exploration. It's a really good question. Okay, thanks again for being here, and really wish you well.